What's going on, champs and champions? It's FireMonkey here, and what if I told you one of the actual icons that you see in your game's quest menu was actually supposed to be a skin in some weird way? Well, that is actually the case right now, because if we go over to my alt account's actual quest menu, we go to the snapshots tab, and we look right here, you'll notice this little, blank face icon with a plus next to it, right here next to, the complete Nolan Chance quest to increase reputation, and even down here in the bottom right with the scout specialist icon. What if I told you that that icon, despite only being used for this quest right here and any of the upcoming snapshot quests that are like, oh hey, complete quest to increase reputation, were all actually a skin in the game's files? Well, if we hop over to the private server, I can actually showcase that to you guys. Alright, as you can see, we are over here in the private servers, and yes, the crashing bug is completely done with the private servers, so I can use them once again. But if we go ahead over here, you'll notice we have a lot of the new skins, a lot of these TBD skins, such as the little guards and stuff around the island. But then we have this skin right here, right? The icon that you saw in the quest menu. Now, something I want to point out right away is if we look at one of these skins, you notice that it says the rarity, and it says it's an outfit. For example, this unreleased one is an epic outfit of TBD. Well, if we click on this right here, you can see that it's not labeled as an outfit, but instead it's labeled as a service despite having a character ID and existing in the outfit inventory tab. And now, other than this, right, it's of course like, oh, you have a default skin, nothing too crazy there, except for the fact that it's a low quality. If you look closely around like the lips and everything, you can see kind of like the pixels and stuff, and there's no facial animations at all. It's just kind of staring into the void ominously, right? And if we keep rotating back and forth between it, when we actually get like the folded arms little like idle animation, if the game wants to give us it, you'll notice how it even has a clipping issue here. The reason why is because of the fact that despite of this being, Ramirez or whatever, it's actually using Mel animations. And of course, since the skin doesn't actually have any skin files it actually recognizes, it has a few weird glitches that happen to it. Firstly, if you pick another skin like Ahsoka, we go to the lobby, we have Ahsoka right here, and then we go back to this TBD skin and we equip it, we will still have Ahsoka in the lobby. The reason why is because there actually isn't any skin data with this skin, so if you use a private server, you actually just kind of get this regardless, assuming that a character does not have any facial animations or, character parts or anything associated with it. But it does add up for some very interesting oddities when we actually do emotes that, have facial animations and stuff to it. So of course the copyrighted emotes are going to be muted, but if we do something like bust a move right here, you can see all the dance moves and everything work perfectly fine. However, the face is just a dead stare into the void. That's all it is, right? It's just a dead stare into the void. Even with other emotes like Boy's a Liar, you can see it right there. It's just kind of like a death stare while doing animations or whatever else. Almost like it's one of those puppets that, are controlled by strings or whatever, but of course the puppet doesn't have strings connected to his face, so it's just always staring into the void. I thought it was a little bit of an interesting thing to see in the game, just being able to see all these different type of things when it comes to the stuff that no one's ever supposed to actually see in the game. However, where it gets even more interesting is, as I mentioned, it uses Mel animations, so when we do an emote like Flaky Feast, you may notice there's some clipping issues here regarding where the hands actually go, right? When you're squeezing the bottle, the hands are actually kind of inside of the bottle instead of, outwards to actually touch it, which is an interesting thing. But then we do something like dice roll, and you'll notice that the dice isn't even in her hand. The dice is just kind of floating next to it or whatever else, and it does show, in some ways that it's like, oh hey, whenever the dice is being shook up in the hand, it actually does have a little bit of like a shaking animation, as you'll see right here once again. It's got that nice little shake going on inside of it, which is cool to see, being able to see it just kind of floating off in the void, but still having that shake effect going on is a cool little like benefit or whatever else. But honestly, I thought this was just an interesting topic overall, just because of the fact that you have stuff like this skin existing when it really shouldn't be, because Epic Games has done item assets and all that type of stuff before, right? We've had level up quest tokens, we've had tons of stuff that gave you rewards which were visually there but weren't an actual skin. So seeing them create a character ID specifically for the NPC reputation system and releasing it as that, right, where it's technically a character skin you're actually seeing in those menus, is just such an odd change that I was not expecting to see them do, because because they have item access tokens. They have all these tokens and stuff that they can visually show, and even in something like the Jujutsu Kaisen event we just recently had, they literally showed us the actual token, right? Because you remember how each grade you had to complete a quest or whatever? Those were tokens. Those weren't a character ID, those weren't anything like that, so it's just odd to see them decide that, you know what, for this right here, we're going to go ahead and make it actually be, you know, in a fully blown character ID, instead of just, you know, your normal, here's a token and that's all you gotta do, call it a day there, right? And it's just very interesting seeing how this kind of exists in the game. Now, a lot of people might not care about it. They're gonna be like, okay, this doesn't change the game at all. FireMonkey, you're just rambling about something because it's something you can view. We'll never be able to view that. And yeah, I'm just kind of nerding out about this because, you know, I love looking in the Fortnite files, and I love looking at all the weird oddities and stuff that shouldn't be possible, but still are somehow possible, and seeing this as one of those oddities that are possible, and it's just kind of fun to mess around with, I always think is, you know, a nice little journey to talk about. And I like documenting these weird little parts of Fortnite history, because there's a chance that if I don't document it, no one does, and no one's gonna remember, oh hey, yeah, there's that one time where that quest icon was actually a skin. And it could be just like a random fun fact one of you guys throw out on your family or something when you're playing Fortnite with them or whatnot. Just be like, did you know this is a skin? Yeah, crazy, I know, right? And then you can just show them this video or whatever. But I also just think it's funny because when I was going to investigate stuff, right, I was never going to make a video or anything about this, but when I noticed that the facial animations would not change regardless of what you did, that was when I was like, okay, this would make for a pretty interesting video, because, you know, it's just like you get to see some death stares while doing some of the new emotes in the game, right? Just these blank stares off into the void while you're over here playing like Fortnite's version of Beat Saber or whatever else. So I'd love to hear in the comments down below, what do you think about this type of topic? Is this something that you're actually kind of interested in? Is this something you're like, this was just a pointless video, FireMonkey, but I still watched it to give you watch time? Is this something in between where you're just kind of like, it's whatever, kind of cool, kind of not, I don't really care at the end of the day? Regardless of whatever you guys might think about this, I think it's a pretty cool thing to talk about, so I hope you champs and champettes enjoyed today's YouTube video, and if you did, consider subscribing for more content. Until next time, I'll catch you champs and champettes later, peace out.